What's up, everyone? I'm Coach D. So I get on X, formerly known as Twitter, this morning, and typically in the morning I'll just take a look at what's trending, and I see that Jon Stewart is trending, and I'm like, oh, he must have had a funny take on whatever's happening in the news lately. And then I go to it and I realize he's trending kind of for all the wrong reasons. So we have a little bit of infighting amongst the liberal ranks right now, because Jon Stewart basically came out and defended the comedian who was at the Trump rally. And I shouldn't say he defended him as in like the things that were said or anything like that, but he basically said, this guy is a comedian, he's doing what he does, and frankly, I think he's kind of funny.
Extremely vile so-called jokes.
Extremely vile so-called jokes. She name-checked my comedy album from the 90s. Now, obviously, in retrospect, having a roast comedian come to a political rally a week before Election Day and roasting a key voting demographic, probably not the best decision by the campaign politically. But to be fair, the guy's really just doing what he does.
They called it deadlifting.
Yes, of course. Terrible, boo, yes. There's something wrong with me. I find that guy very funny.
So right now there's a lot of hate out there for Jon Stewart, and a lot of people are saying that he's flexing his male white privilege, that this is who he's always been, and now he's transitioning to Bill Maher. So I want to take this time to defend what Jon Stewart is saying, but then at the same time tell you exactly why that's the reason whoever booked this comedian and Donald Trump knew exactly what they were getting. So first, to defend Jon Stewart. He's absolutely right. The comedian is doing what that comedian does. He's a typical roast comedian. He does these roast shows. He says inflammatory things that are sort of race-based and sexist, misogynist. But if you've ever seen any of these roasts, you see that's what goes on in these roasts. I don't particularly love them, but I understand that sect of Hollywood that thinks that's funny and enjoys that type of comedy. And not that I'm saying it's bad or good. It's just, I think there's better ways to do roast than always go with misogyny, racism, and bigotry, right? But again, this guy had done the Tom Brady roast recently. There were black people there, white people there, women there. They're all laughing at it. And that's, again, what he does. But that is exactly why you don't book this guy. And that is exactly why I know that everyone who was involved with making sure that this comedian was at the MSG Center on that day for Donald Trump's rally knew exactly what they were going to get. They're trying to distance themselves from it now because it looks really bad. But they knew what they were going to get. They knew he was a roast comic. They knew when he went there, he was going to be saying that. And I would have to tell you almost 99% sure that they put a rubber stamp on every single joke that he told that night. They knew what he was going to say. But again, you have this comedian who is known for bigotry, racist, misogynistic type jokes. You bring him to a campaign rally, he tells racist, bigoted, misogynist type jokes, and suddenly you're like, whoa, where'd this come from? We had no idea. That's all he does. So to defend Jon Stewart and say this, he's right. There are people who think this guy is funny. When he goes to these roasts, he's funny. He's seen that way. However, this was not the venue for that type of comedy because it's not a comedy event. But again, you heard the people in that crowd, they were applauding it, not because, and here's the difference between the roast and what you saw at the rally. The people at the roast, they're a part of the joke. The people at the rally were laughing at the people the jokes were about. That is on brand for a Donald Trump rally. A rally full of white people laughing at black people, Hispanic people, women, and so forth. Period.
Don't want no enemies or ops. Envy in their heart, I tell them stop. Vacation on the yacht.